If you've been on the receiving end of a Witch King, you know you get pwned if you aren't ready for it. In this video, I want to talk about how you can potentially counter the Witch King in Lord of the Rings Rise to War using the good faction. What can you do to try to stop this menace? Stick around for 8 ideas. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and in this video, we're talking again about the Witch King. I talked about him previously. I souped up my Gandalf in a previous video to try to handle it. I'll have a card up in the top if you want to check that out. But there are better options than Gandalf, and he is good, but there is better. And the better performs much better. So in this video, I want to do a couple things. I want to talk about why it is the Witch King works. What is he doing? Then I'll talk about the ways that you can start to counter him, the commanders that you use, and why it is that they potentially work in that way to counter the Witch King. So first of all, you have to just know the enemy. What in the world is the Witch King doing? Now, this is just one Witch King, and Witch King is so powerful that you can go all in on the gear for the Witch King, which, I mean, this player almost certainly has other well-geared commanders, but, like, that's a nice set of gear that we're looking at over here. Let's look at his abilities. First of all, Uruk-hai, Orcs, Evil Men, they're doing 30% more damage. Okay. In the first 2 rounds, all allied units gain initiative. This is a big problem. Witch King's units are going first, and they have a chance to attack twice each round. It's convener. It's the equivalent of what Gandalf has, actually. And then also, he's reducing the damage he received by 14%. He also, against all enemies, is making it so they take more burn, poison, and focus damage by 30%. Also, round 1, against 2 enemy targets, there is a 100% chance of being stunned. So he has initiative, and then he stuns all your stuff. Two things anyways, and inflicts a bunch of focus damage after the stun effect ends. And we're not done yet. Normal attacks inflict 70% poison damage, continuous for 2 rounds, damage over time. The Witch King basically takes initiative, stuns your units, and pwns you before you have a chance to do anything. And that is why the Witch King is so powerful. He'll hit a tile, and if you were not prepared, he'll take out 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 armies, because he hits you so hard, so fast, that you don't get to do anything back. And if you don't have an answer to his game plan, you are again just pwned. And that is the problem with Witch King and handling him, is that if you don't respond to the Witch King's game plan, you will be pwned by the Witch King. And maybe there is a good side commander where if you don't respond to what he is doing, you get pwned by him. Maybe it's just Gandalf. But I mean, when we say pwned, I mean straight pwned. Armies he just shreds stuff, man, which from a lore standpoint, I get kind of cool. But from a gameplay standpoint, it makes it so that you must make big strides to adjust your game plan to handle Witch King, or you are losing to Witch King. So with that out of the way, for explaining why he is powerful, because even if you aren't fighting him, you're weaker against everything else that you might be up against because you have adjusted your build or whatever to handle, or your equipment to handle Witch King. You see the problem? He's getting victory over you even when you aren't actually hitting him, because he changes the way you play to be less optimal against the other stuff. Okay, that out of the way. What are your options? This is an example where I used Gandalf, but the number 1 counter in the list today, and I just got to check, I'm guarding on this tile still. The number 1 on the list today is a T3 commander in good, and I didn't think he was very impressive when I first looked at him. I didn't understand, but Gil-galad might be the single best R3, or I don't know, tier 3 commander for good. Gil-galad shreds Witch Kings. Witch Kings need to fear Gil-galad. Gil-galad does to Witch Kings what Witch Kings do to everyone else, okay? So why is it that Gil-galad is amazing? He does a number of things. First of all, he has really great damage reduction. Even if you are not able to rank him up a bunch, even if you just have him at the lowest levels of loyalty. And again, huge thank you to my Alliance members who've talked me through this. Special thank you to Pelche Child, and also to Drucifer, who spent a lot of time talking with me in voice about his Gil-galad and how he's used him. Even if you just had him just straight up just unlocked, there's a bunch of stuff that he's doing. You have a chance to avoid damage. This is really important. You must survive the first rounds. In addition, he does counterattack damage. Even when he avoids damage, he does counterattack damage back. It's like really gross how that works. Also, all allied units have boosted damage. Up top, deals physical damage and stuns the enemies, which is a big deal. And then deals physical damage and gains pursuit, avoiding avoidance effects, or ignores avoidance effects. And against the enemy commander, chance of being stunned for 2 rounds. Big deal. So he does a lot of really powerful stuff to counter what Witch King is doing. Really great avoidance, really great damage buffs, crazy stun, use all elves, and you just like go ham with this dude, and Gil-galad can shred Witch King. It's crazy. Another commander that does really well, number 2 on the list, is Thranduil. And Thranduil has massive damage reduction, which is very important. He's got avoidance, he's got powerful damage buffs, and as long as you're defending, he is really, really powerful in this context. A part of that is right over here. While defending, elf damage received is just like greatly reduced. 22% when you have this max level. So 15 points into that, that's 15%. And then 22% on top. GG. That seems really amazing. Wish I had a Thranduil. I've been working on him. I'm like halfway there. If only I could get a full letter. That would be pretty sick. Number 3 on the list is a T2 commander. Thank goodness. There is an answer at T2, and that is Gandalf. And yeah, pretty much everybody should be running around with a Gandalf if you're good, because you can get him from the Matham chest in Season 1. And that is a chest that I don't think has an expiration. It just like lasts all through the season. It might even last beyond the first season. I have no clue. But Gandalf is really solid for his damage reduction. White Council massively reduces damage. Then you go in on High Alert, massively reduces damage. And Mithrandir massively reduces damage. Gandalf is really good for this. He has initiative with Convener, and he's got stuns. Gandalf can survive the damage and deal damage back. The problem is, I mean, I'm still not auto-winning. I got kind of wrecked by that Witch King, but he also has way better gear than me, so he's good. But if they have sick gear, you're still probably in trouble. The next counter, number 4 on the list, is back to tier 3, and it's Gandalf the White. So Gandalf the White has better damage than Gandalf the Grey, but doesn't have initiative and has much worse damage reduction. I mean, he doesn't have Mithrandir. He is notable for his insanely powerful cavalry and defense buffs, which aren't really all that great against the Witch King. So all the way over here, mounted units, horsemanship, right? Like, cool, but I'm not really using all that many mounted units, not with Gandalf the White. And then reinforcement, allied units recover hit points on round 7 onwards. The problem is that you got pwned in the first couple rounds. So he has better damage, but missing initiative and missing the damage reduction. Should work, though, to counter a Witch King. Now, number 5 on the list. And this, some of my Alliance members maybe disagreed in how viable this is. So consider that it may take some very special circumstances to unlock all of this. It's Galadriel, number 5. The damage reduction is better than Gandalf the White, and we can show that here, right? It's got White Council, which is really good, and also High Alert. But then all the way over here at Magical Barrier, you've got more ways to reduce the damage that you take. But really, Galadriel's strength is doing lots of damage, and this is what my Alliance members were saying, is like, yeah, like, you can spec her to be more tanky, but a part of what you want to do with Galadriel, and I haven't used her myself, is go all in on just like lots of damage, and that's what she's really designed to do. So there's a little bit of a push and pull here with becking her to counter the Witch King at the cost of just like overall effectiveness, and like, what if you end up not hitting a Witch King? Okay. Number 6 on the list is Elrond, and like, this Gandalf the Grey is popular, but he's one of the only counters outside of like tier 3 commanders here that we're going to be talking about, although there are some options here. And Elrond doesn't have a stun. He doesn't have immunity or a whole lot of healing, but his damage reduction is really good. But he gets a lot of early round damage in, and he's got initiative. Theoretically, we'll never lose to a Witch King, although like nobody in my fellowship or faction has an Elrond, so like I haven't seen it myself to tell you. but he has White Council, huge damage reduction, and High Alert. A part of what makes the Witch King strong, and I really should have talked more about this, is the alchemists do a ton of burn damage. So reducing the burn damage is very important. Convener is the ability that is giving you initiative. Convener's so strong. Gandalf has it. Witch King has it. I'm sure there's some other commanders, but Convener is like really powerful. Initiative and a chance of a double attack is just like super, super powerful here. So that's what we're talking about with like early round damage and initiative. I think that he can be very strong, and things like not having stun immunity can somewhat be offset with like helmets that give you stun immunity. And I can talk about that more in just a little bit here. The number 7 commander on the list is Balin. And we were talking about this with my fellowship, and we were realizing like, hey, although this dude, if you have him, can potentially do well against the Witch King, and, you know, Pelche Child was suggesting this is like maybe goes even, might sometimes win. Even though he can do that, you would rather invest in Gimli rather than this commander. So Gimli is just a better overall commander is the suggestion there. So Warrior of the Lonely Mountain is what gives you 50% burn damage received reduction, in addition to 15% physical damage taken reduction. That combination of things is really good. He's got good early round damage. He's got healing. He's got a stun. There it is. Frightened. First 4 rounds against 2 enemy targets. Chance of them being stunned each round. Like that early round control works well against the Witch King. The final option, which I'm going to call this a theoretical option, not because I mean, maybe it does work. I just haven't seen a report yet of this working, and I want it to work so badly, but I also don't want to tell you like this is the god tier thing when like I haven't used it or seen a report yet. But the thing I really want to see is a Faramir, and I really want to see Faramir with his unique stun immunity, early round damage, healing, good commander damage, round 2 initiative, and when you have this Ranger's Cape, for the first 2 rounds, he also has initiative and damage dealt boost. I think this seems really, really cool. And if we just look at his portrait, like you can see some of these abilities. And it's funny because I thought that he was a really bad commander, but it turns out that having initiative from Rangers of Ithilien, starting at round 3, you have initiative. So the cloak gives you the first 2 rounds of initiative. And then after the 2 rounds of warm up for this ability, then you have initiative again. GG. That seems really good. A bunch of damage abilities, right? Then you go for guide, which you get some healing over here, which seems pretty good. Also, the first 2 rounds, all allied units do damage, and there's the stun immunity in the first couple rounds. Ooh, dude, like, I think that Faramir, we were talking about this, like, he could be kind of like a mini Witch King? Question mark? I don't know. There are a couple other honorable mentions here. Haldir deserves an honorable mention. If you're Linden, Haldir can do it. Potentially, I mean, Pelche Child was like, he can beat Witch King every time as Linden, which is like, holy moly. And then at R3, or I guess tier 3, King of the Dead, under the right circumstances, with the right faction, you can potentially do this as well and beat the Witch King. I don't know, man. I just freak out because I'm guarding a tile, and if they send Witch King over, I'm like, oh, did they kill me? Because if I guard with my Gandalf, I'm going to do damage. I'm going to do great stuff. And if I guard with my Éomer, I'm going to lose every troop and do nothing to him. It's just like a really weird situation, how that works exactly. And I have tried to adjust my game plan to the enemy and what they're doing, but that means against everybody else, I'm just like less effective generally. So, you know, like trying to avoid the first couple instances of damage, or making it so that I have stun immunity in the first couple rounds. Like, I am majorly changing my game plan to try to handle the Witch King. And there are a few other items that can do that. I think that there's an accessory, and I might even have it, but not this particular flavor of the accessory, not the modifier. But there are accessories that can give initiative, which seems like really good. Is it tactical mark, gain pursuit, chance of dealing maximum damage? Maybe this isn't the item. Hold on. Maybe it's the fiddle. Maybe it's the fiddle, and I just don't have the right flavor of fiddle. I think this is it. Let's see here. Ah, Blitz. Chance of gaining initiative, right? I mean, that's going to be good against everybody, but seems like it would be really, really helpful if I had Blitz. And then also I've got a stun immunity helmet. And then like maybe I'm well on my way to surviving against the Witch King with AMR. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe there is some easy answer for the Witch King. And I've been sitting on it all along. Please leave a comment. Help me out. How do you do it? Because right now, I mean, we're at this crossing. And we've been here a while. And like, they send a Witch King over. And like, some poor unsuspecting soul on that crossing gets hit, unprepared for a Witch King, and gets pwned. Or 3, all at once. It's, the Witch King, everybody. But I will say, Gil-galad, if you catch that Witch King with a Gil-galad, it's kind of GG. So there are answers. But a lot of them are at the highest tier of commander rarity. So good luck getting some of those letters, you know? Why do you think I've been open so many Mathams? If you enjoyed this video, throw a like on here. Consider subscribing. Hopefully this is helpful. Again, huge thank you to Pelche Child. Hopefully I am pronouncing your name correctly. For providing this list, and to my fellowship and faction for giving me a lot of feedback and helping me come to speed on like, hey, what are the answers? Because like, GG, man. Until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies or recovering from getting smashed by the Witch King.